So we're now going to take a look at a different form of art and how it helped one person get to grips with their diagnosis. Alex is the artist behind Diabetes by Design. She designed a series of posters encouraging people to learn about diabetes, and has also designed a set of companion cards which cover all the different aspects of living with this condition. Here to tell us more, Alex from Diabetes by Design. Hi, Alex. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Thanks. Thank you. So you've prepared a few slides for us, which kind of takes us all the way through from when you first got diagnosed, which was actually only a few years ago, if I'm remembering correctly, all the way through to the launch of your companion cards. I don't want to give too much away for the audience, so I'll hand straight over to you and come back at the end with some questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Morgan. So hi, everyone. Before I tell you a little bit about my work in addressing the mental toll of living with and alongside type 1 diabetes, I'm going to take you back to the 24th of August, 2018. At the time, I was heading to New York with my team for a conference. That morning, I'd been feeling really tired, the kind of bone tired where even holding up a hairdryer was too much. So I went to the doctors thinking I had like a low iron issue. They ran a few tests, but said I was good to fly. So there I was sitting in the plane, taxied down the runway when my phone started to ring. I went to turn it off, but when I saw it was my doctor, I kind of scooched down in my seat and I took the call. And there, without even saying hello, she said, your blood glucose is through the roof. You need to get to hospital immediately. I will spend 3 days in that hospital in New York attached to a drip, and I was told that any longer and I wouldn't have walked in. And every time I tell this story, lots of people feel that the dramatic moment was that moment in the plane and the 9 hours without access to internet to Google what the hell this was. But for me, it was really, what was more dramatic was the unawareness that plagued every step of the way. And that started with my own. I didn't know what type 1 diabetes was, didn't really understand diabetes at all. The nurse that morning, who I'd said I'd lost 11 kilos in less than 3 months and congratulated me on my weight loss. The friendly person on the plane who told me that not to worry, as long as I was healthy, I wouldn't need any medication. This is probably not an audience where I need to explain this, but a lot of my work is kind of raising awareness. So type 1 diabetes is a chronic autoimmune condition that occurs when the body's own immune system attacks and destroys insulin-producing beta cells in the pancreas. As a lot of you know, and from the talks you've already had so far, misinformation is rife in the world of diabetes. And when you're kind of coming to grips with a diagnosis, you're also having to educate everyone around you. I was told that I was too old for diabetes when you can actually get it at any age. I was told I couldn't eat that when actually when you can carb count it, you pretty much can eat it. And I was told to stop medicating so much and that their cousin had cured themselves. So maybe I just should try harder. And all this kind of misinformation is overwhelming. And 1 in 4 adults in the UK experiences what is known as diabetes burnout. This is when the condition becomes so overwhelming that we disengage from taking care of ourselves, which is what can lead to the complications like blindness, heart failure, amputations, all the good stuff. As well as being a huge toll, individual toll, this is a huge toll more widely. These numbers are now out of date and they're lower than what they are, but £25,000 a minute is spent on diabetes in the UK, and mostly on treating preventable diabetic complications. And I always like to say at this moment, people say, yeah, but diabetes tech will save us all. And I love my tech, has changed my life. But I always talk about if you are too burnt out to get out of bed, the likelihood you're not actually wearing your tech in the first place. So 10 months into my diagnosis, I started to really feel that those feelings of burnout, and it's only later which I find out that people with diabetes are twice as likely to experience depression than the general population. Luckily, I got a bit of therapy support through my clinic, and I kind of identified what was really making me feel stuck was the inability to communicate the magnitude of this condition to people, and instead shutting myself out from those conversations with friends, family, and the wider world. So I set myself a task to create one print a day for 100 days and accompany it with a short essay, kind of simplifying the information around diabetes. And I posted these on Instagram, and all the work culminated in an exhibition with over 100 prints and installations, all kind of vulgarizing diabetes and making it more accessible. And they're bright and colorful and basically designed to trick people into learning about diabetes, because people think they know enough to be dangerous. And that's what's the hardest thing, is it's hard to get people to learn new information when they think they know. So this is a little bit to jolt that kind of learning approach. And the work's kind of has kind of touched people all over, from people in Brazil being diagnosed and finding the work, all the way to people coming to the exhibitions who have had 25 years of living with the condition, but value it being presented in a different way. Having the exhibition was really interesting for this work, because as well as people with the condition, it kind of reached also health professionals who posed this question to me in conversations we had: how might acknowledging the psychological effects as much as the physical ones lead to faster acceptance and better diabetes management, and reducing those 1 in 4 adults hitting burnout? I should say at this moment, my background is in product design and innovation. So I pulled together a team made up of data scientists, user researchers, doctors, healthcare clinicians, and we looked at the diagnosis journey and kind of saw how it was very top heavy, but from 3 months onwards, it kind of peters out for adults. So we were looking for innovations kind of in that space, and we had loads of ideas, but the one I'll kind of share with you today is this, the companion cards, which are currently in development. And this is the idea, is a card-based toolkit that uses the art you've seen previously to help navigate the highs and lows with living with type 1 diabetes. And the idea is, when someone's diagnosed, it's not just them, it's their circle around them who are pulled into this. So this is kind of supposed to be engaging, grounded in medical truth, but also a bit fun. The cards are a mixture of facts as well as strategies to kind of work on to kind of help support mental health side of things. 2 sets of the 5 were launched at a recent exhibition, and the goal is to finish this for the end of the year. And dedoc team were very kind in saying that I could do a little shout out here. If this is a project that interests you, I'm currently building a review group here. So if you're interested in seeing the cards before they're actually out there and kind of shaping them a bit, feel free to scan that QR code and yeah, get in touch. So yeah, that was my whistle stop tour. Morgan, hope I haven't gone over too much.
No, all good, fantastic. We've got a few comments in that I would like to read before I ask you a couple of questions. It seems like your artwork has really resonated with people. So first up, we have Helga, who says, Alex, your work is amazing. I think the language of art is a universal way of communicating. #language matters. We have from Mark, these posters and prints are so good. Saw them on Instagram. Looking forward to the cards you're making. And we have 2 comments as well about the content of the cards, which I'd like to read out. So one from Tino, going back to the beginning of your presentation. He says, people always think if you live with a chronic illness, you have to look ill, terrible, etc. So sad. Sentiments from the uninformed community. You don't look diabetic. And Nukwa, who also says, tech isn't the whole picture, although it's great to have. So I just have a couple of questions for you. First one being, what was the reaction to the cards like? We saw a few quotes in the slides, but if you'd like to tell us a little bit more about how they've been received, that would be lovely.
Yeah, so we've run 2 tests with diabetic specialist nurses, and I'll maybe share that first. One of the issues in the UK, it might not be the same in Germany, is there's so little time at people's checkups. And I do it myself. I arrive, you know, a bit flustered. I had raced there, I was doing work before, and the doctor or whoever I'm speaking to asked me how I am. And I just, like a petulant teen, just say, fine. And I'm ready to leave. And part of that is both, it's so big that I can't articulate it. And two, the person opposite you doesn't know where to start, and because they've only got maybe 15 minutes with you, they don't want to open Pandora's box. And they started using, apologies for the police car going by, they started putting them out almost like diabetes tarot, like flashcards kind of, and people were inspired to talk about maybe the you don't look diabetic, that, you know, frustrates that person. And so that really pisses me off and enables to open that conversation. And the point of the cards isn't to boil the diabetes ocean. I've got them here, actually. They are to kind of give people enough information to jump off into what truly is interesting to them. One of the big things and the big insight, that was the nurses, the big insight from testing on recently diagnosed, because we focused initially on recently diagnosed adults, as it felt that there was the biggest gap there in terms of support, was they were saying having these physically and not an app is better, because I can leave them out on the kitchen table and my family and friends can ask me about them, and it's not as heavy as like slamming a book down in front of them, but they're kind of easy to engage with. And that was a big insight for the project, is that this is really something that there's something missing for the ones just on the sidelines who want to learn but are scared to ask. So yeah, there's a good few mix of them.
Okay. Yeah, we do have one other comment from Helga for you, saying please have them in more languages. I don't know what the plan there is, but I imagine first of all get the English ones going, and then perhaps.
Exactly. Yeah. Luckily, I speak French and have a few elements in there, but yeah, it would be the dream to do them in other languages as well.
Yeah. So I know the plan is to get them into sort of post-diagnosis bags and into hospital settings, really. But if anyone's interested to, like, perhaps get them themselves, where would they be able to stay up to date?
They will be purchasable as well for individuals. Of course, I would love for them to be accessible as well. So we are speaking to obviously clinics and such, but yeah, really interested. I'm actually presenting this work in San Diego for Diabetes Mine, the innovation conference. So that will be also interesting just to see, because all countries and being already here today, it's really interesting. Obviously, everyone has different setups with their healthcare, so really open to any ideas or any feedback. We're really in the stage of just fleshing these out. So,
yeah, and I assume people can contact you either via Instagram or via your website.
Yeah, my email's on the website. It's hello@diabetesbydesign.org. But yeah, a DM on diabetes will be fine too.
And here's the link blended in by my colleague Natalie. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to present your work. It's lovely.
Thanks for having me.